line here today. Both of these teams tied at 10-7 on the split. And for them, it all comes down to one single game here on the last day of the regular season. Fluxo and Red Canids were onto the Rift.
Yeah, and for Fluxo here, I mean, we talk a lot about Red wants to do, but I actually want to. I'm looking more at Fluxo in this early game with this drop that they have because they picked the Lee Sin. You picked the Lucian Nami here, and their composition's actually a little bit light on damage. They didn't go with that hyper carry mid laner for House, who I think you were the ones who brought up the stat yesterday here, Yeso, you and Axeman, that House was actually leading in damage per minute out of any major region plus CBLOL. So
yes,
I mean, a player like that, you're popping him on Alessandra, not somebody who's particularly damage oriented on a team already light on damage. Fluxo need to snowball early with these early game champions to stay ahead of the game, or else against the Talia, against the Xayah here, they will fall behind in team fights.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that you do at least bring to the table with the Lissandra is the ability to play aggressively and draw a lot of attention, which, maybe that is opening the door for a Brunsey to pop off, a Desamis to make some plays, because House will draw a lot of attention. You typically see the Lissandra all the time, right? You're going to get that Zhonya's Hourglass. You'll have your ultimate available, so you can go in, create a lot of havoc, get that hard CC to lock down members, and then you just chain your ultimate into the Zhonya's Hourglass to buy so much time. So we'll keep an eye on that as the game continues here. But that is an early grand entrance there from Scamber to try and threaten Brunsey. But, hey, you've got a Nami in your back pocket. You're relatively safe in these short trades, so Brunsey going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's what you kind of have to do with Xayah Rakan as well, because Nami has the ability to just heal back up over time, is you need to constantly threaten and engage. Unfortunately, that's why I wasn't a fan of the Xayah Rakan necessarily, for laning purposes at any rate, into the Lucian Nami, and that's why Lucian Nami was such a menace. Even post-nerfs here, their ability to trade back is equal, plus that sustain to come through. So, so if Red want to win out this bot side, I am expecting to see jungle pressure and jungle focus coming back. And both junglers started on that top side, both hitting bot, but Desamis right now just a little bit ahead.
Early Lee Sin clear looking fine. You could certainly try and get Aegis down here to maybe go for an early dive, but that's going to be difficult having to deal with the bubble. And again, that continued sustain from the Nami, so could be very risky here for Red early on. But at the very least, they've got priority in all three lanes, right? That clear might be just a little bit quicker from the Lee Sin, but all of these lanes pushed in favor of Red, which should give Aegis good confidence to go for this early Scuttle Crab and secure that and keep things rolling. So we'll keep an eye on these junglers now for the next minute or two.
Ooh, and Aegis here is going to get spotted out, looking for that invade here. Good dash away. And I think the idea from Red, the bot side actually shouldn't necessarily be Xayah Rakan favorite pushing. I think part of that is because Fluxo was more than happy to let them push into them to set up a gank. And I want to highlight the wards that Titan and Scamber have put down in this bot side of the map here, because that's what's keeping them really safe. That's what's allowing them to push up fairly freely. And you can see as soon as the junglers left here, Brunsey and Jojo were just like, okay, enough. We start going in.
Oh, and that is going to be the great interest of the Brunsey. The flash away is not going to be enough. That's first blood there for Titan. And while House has arrived on the road, Titan might just get away. Desamis is in on the flank, but the teleport in from Avenger will keep the Red 80 carry safe. Desamis dashing over the wall to get back to safety. And that is a huge first blood for Red.
Well, that's bot cap. Not the way Brunsey wanted it, though. And Fluxo's bot lane just got baited. That was beautiful from Titan and Scamber. It looked, and you could see the confidence in Fluxo's bot lane as well. We all expect the push to go in their favor, that they're the ones who have agency in that bot side. They're pushing up. The instant turnaround, the instant burst onto Brunsey was absolutely disgusting to watch. And Fluxo, they got caught sleeping a little bit. They were trying to get the rotation. And now Brunsey actually running back to mid lane here to pick up as much farm as possible. And I like this call. I like this adaptation here. We mentioned before, Fluxo need to stay ahead. And who's your damage dealer? It's Brunsey. Maybe it's a little bit about Desamis here. So you need to keep Brunsey ahead. Even when he drops dead, you need to make sure he still catches farm somehow.
Yeah, and I think that's where the House Lysandre pick really comes into maybe not as good of a light, because when you talk about that Lucian, right, very good in that early game. Early to mid game can become incredibly dominant, but you fall off late game, right? Post 25 or 30 minutes, you aren't that premier damage dealer that you are for the first 10 to 15. And so if you stall to that point, you don't have that large lead, and then you don't have that big hyper carry mid laner in your back pocket, then Fluxo can really lose out in the damage department. So that lead only emphasized by their choice of mid laner here. So Fluxo gonna have to figure some things out here over the next 10 minutes. You see DeSamus trying to get there into the mid lane, not quite able to get it done. But let's take a look at this replay and this first blood here from Titan.
Yeah, and you can see the bait too. Titan had thrown out all the feathers already. So the moment Bruncy walked in, you just blade call, and I think Bruncy forgot what was behind him, and you can see from this. This has got my favorite part about CBLOL. Yeah, these player cams, man. You can see kind of Bruncy's side profile as well. The slight shock he had when the blade call pulled through, and he lost like half his health bar just off of that there. And Titan, yeah, the bait was set up perfectly. Now, Red, I don't know if they really want to start up this dragon here. I don't know if they're stronger in the 4v4 here. They're certainly fueling themselves, and DeSamus has snuck in from behind.
Yeah, no information there for Red that DeSamus was in that position, and How's looking to get in on the flank. He is going to get the ult down, and they're going to easily lock down Aegis. DeSamus going to finish off the fight. Avenger should be able to escape here, not in any real danger. The big question is, with Red bottom lane roaming in, what's going to happen? Looks like Jojo and Bruncy on the follow will discourage any further aggression.
Just pecking away at Titan and Scamber's heinies there. And the wave, unfortunately, pushing away from them. They're also going to lose the control ward they dropped in the bush there just because of that rotation. And you can take House off damage, but the playmaking from House is still really solid. He was the one who found the pick onto Aegis, onto Avenger.
Beautiful little double bubble there for Jojo, but Bruncy going to have to back away. Blade Caller going to come through, will lock down Bruncy there momentarily, but no further aggression from this red bottom lane. I love, both bottom lanes confident, trading back and forth here. Of course, Bruncy getting punished the first time around for that confidence, but regardless, very scrappy in this 2v2, and now we're going to have to see Avenger possibly in trouble here. The knockback onto DeSamus will give Avenger a little bit of breathing room, but the teleport in from House means Avenger is done. That's going to be the kick right into the Lissandra and House with their first kill of the game.
So I was just talking to Trajan before this about DeSamus, and Trajan really likes DeSamus as a jungler. I think he's, somebody to watch. And I was kind of telling him, for me personally, I haven't really noticed DeSamus too much. He's good. It's just he doesn't particularly stand out. But plays like this, I can see why Trajan likes him. The patience of DeSamus for that Dragon's Rage, waiting for the Weaver's Wall, the escape, knowing that, hey, Avenger, where are you going to go? I can run you down. So you have no flash. The only way out is that Weaver's Wall. As soon as the wall came up, Dragon Kick, you're right off. House, here you go, on a silver platter.
Yeah, Avenger just getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and DeSamus able to set up his mid laner for a nice kill there. And now we're going to have to see if they're just going to sit in the back pocket of House for a little while, right? You see Jojo stepping into the lane, matching that roam from Scamber, as looks like Ty and DeSamus wanting to take down this early Rift Herald. Haven't seen that Drake taken quite yet. It is Hex Tech, so we'll keep an eye on that here over the next couple of minutes. But at the very least, Fluxo will draw first blood on these neutral objectives. DeSamus grabs the eye of the Herald, and now we'll just have to keep an eye on where DeSamus wants to drop that. What lane do you want to possibly bust open here? No plates have been taken by Fluxo, so it likely won't secure a tower, but it could maybe open the door for that first strike.
Yeah, I think a lot of that will just come down to where the best opportunity to place it is. Just having to run away here. And I think this map state we're seeing directly reflects what we expect from these teams. The fact that Fluxo has oftentimes played through House in that mid lane, and that's where they have their advantage. So they know that, hey, Herald, top side's even, but if we have the edge in the mid lane, it's safer for us to go for the Herald. Whereas bot side, we said before, Titan, the leader of this team here, is doing well in the bot lane. And despite the Lucian Nami, Fluxo are not as confident in that 4v4 on the bot side. So if they want to make a play on this dragon, Fluxo need to find a pick first. And Red, likewise, aren't feeling terribly confident because of that mid deficit here. Both sides are looking for this.
Oh, and this is going to be just a full engage from Red. The Nami wave over the top will stall things for the time being. Aegis trying to run away, and DeSamus backing away, very low health, but Titan has bit off more than he could chew. Ty arrives and picks up the kill there for the Cassante, and Red has to retreat and lick their wounds.
This is dangerous for Red Canids as well, that their strong lane, unfortunately, has been punished here. Now, Fluxo did have to call down Tai, so there is a little bit of an edge for Bull here, but I personally think the Dragon is more than worth this particular play. Tai walking all the way down, walking all the way back up. Red, are they still looking to contest this?
I mean, I don't hate the idea. You've got Titan
Okay.
walking back from base and does have ultimate available. The Feather Storm wasn't used
Wow.
in that fight, which you could question. Maybe Titan should have been setting that up a little bit earlier on. Maybe it saves his life, but ultimately, Red, with the ability to contest here, and Fluxo actually has to abandon this Drake, and it's going to be picked up by the side of Red.
Oh, that was massive. Okay, we get the replay here of how this pans out. And look at Titan. He actually flashes over the wall.
Okay.
But it was the Dragon's Rage there, the kick that actually messed him up. He was about to kill the Samus, but there is that stun portion to that kickback as well, so you can't actually blade call. And by the time he came out of the stun, the Samus was already off to safety. So a little bit painful for Titan. I will also say I don't think the Feather Storm could have saved him there because he was put in such
ultimately, you're right.
awkward
It's the
spot
Flash.
there. Yeah,
Dude
it's the
himself.
Flash. He went in. He's not coming back out here. And that's been a persistent problem we've seen with Titan because Red Canids live or die by this guy. We saw it in the Furia game. Titan got ahead in a matchup he shouldn't have been able to win. Kaisa into Zaya there. And then at the very end, he also costs them the game. House being jumped on here, able to hop away.
Yeah, but it's a hard aspect of Titan's game to temper.
Yeah.
Because part of the reason Titan is so successful, is as good as he is because of that confidence and that aggression that he plays with, right? You know, you live by the sword, die by the sword, and that's just kind of how it's going to be. So ultimately, I think as a Red fan, as a teammate of Titans, you're just hoping that he finds the right times to use that aggression. And unfortunately, that wasn't one of them. Rift Herald dropped in this mid lane. We'll get a couple of plates, so some nice income there for House, who will just back away into the safety of the enemy blue quadrant as the Samus and Jojo here with the combo invade to secure some more territory here for Fluxo as the push coming in this bottom lane. Brunsey wants to deliver this wave into the tower. The question is, do they go for a play bot side? Because Aegis on his way here, they have the information that Jojo isn't bot side, so they can try to punish the solution, but it's actually going to be the dive in mid and House and Samus just delete Avenger.
And unfortunately for Red here, they can't pull the same play bot side. It took too long. The minions were too far pushed up here. And yeah, so watching what Fluxo are doing in the mid lane, I'm loving it. This is the Fluxo we're coming to expect from that 8-game win streak where they come into the game with a game plan here and they're just executing it so clean. The ease of which they're punishing Avenger. Avenger doesn't even have time to flash between the Dragon's Rage and the lockdown from Lissandra. If you don't immediately flash the moment you see Aegis, you see the Samus, it's just way too late for Avenger here, and they can do that on repeat. So Fluxo, we said that there's pressure on them to perform early. So far, they've been able to answer that expectation. And for Red Canids, yes, you've got skilling on your side, but we've already seen at least once today that if you take too long, you might not actually have that mid to late game.
How much trouble is Bull in here? Maybe a lot. He is going to try and jump away, but it's not going to be enough. It is going to be the flash necessary from Bull as the Samus with a well-timed gank and House just sneaking into that brush before Bull could see him. And that is a Red top laner with no flash available. And now Fluxo just wants to chain this. They're looking to get as much as they possibly can out of this. Maybe going to steal the red buff. It actually is Aegis just barely able to secure it there. Well done from the Red jungler.
Bot side, we're seeing the mismatches here of top lanes into dual lanes here. Tai does have the ultimate available.
Yeah, but you're going to be in big trouble because it's going to be the charm into the grand entrance. The only problem, Cassante, pretty beefy, absorbing a lot of those feathers from Titan. Is just trying to clear out this wave, and Titan will at least eat a single tower shot there, and it looks like Tai is going to be able to get out, but it's going to possibly cost this bottom tier 1.
Yeah, and Tai still had the all-out ready to go as well, so there is kill threat. And the thing is, Avenger, actually, that's a hard gank, because if your Weaver's Wall comes down here, you're giving more terrain for Tai to play around. So very well played on both sides to be patient with the play. Red will ultimately, as you mentioned, be rewarded. Now it's a race of who can get turret first here. Oh, just barely. Titan wins out.
So close there, but an extra bit of gold, that nice influx for Titan is going to be huge, because this Zaya can become a huge problem. And Axeman and I got to talk about it a lot today. It's such a difficult champion to lock down post 6 with the safety of that Featherstorm available. So you add a cleanse on top of that, and now
Yep.
Titan with that more gold. You've got your mythic on the table. The Zaya's going to start to become a problem.
Yeah, definitely Bruntsy and Jojo not enjoying the lane that they wanted to, and now we know what Titan's going to do. He already tried to do it before. He was quite ready for it. Oh, okay, Aegis.
Ooh, House with the lockdown onto Aegis, and that Vi has to back away. We talked about it in draft. She is not very tanky, and that's going to be House going gold. The wave will get the knock up onto 2, and it looks like Red still wants to go, but they maybe bit off more they could chew. House takes down Bull, but it is the trade back. Desamus killed by Titan, and Red backs away. But Tay maybe looking to keep this fight going. Fluxo on the follow. Scamber going to stay. Red has to back away here. I don't think you can continue to take this fight.
And you know, I appreciate Red going for that. In their eyes, it looked good. Hold up the continuation.
Oh no! Red, you had to back away, but maybe not. It's the shutdown on a house. A huge kill for Titan. And Avenger turns on to Bruntsy, and it's Fluxo, in fact, that stayed too long.
Man, the initial fight looked so good for Fluxo. The fact they held it 3v5 in their own jungle and everybody was piling in to back them up. But Red, it just feels like trap after trap. Whoever's pulling the trigger first is the one walking into that trap. Even that mid lane push, Red were sat there ready and waiting. Okay, which replay do we get? We get the initial pick from Red. And I think from Red, the initial pick is fine. You see House, you think, oh, low damage. We've got the numbers advantage. Look how much quicker Red is collapsing and they get all 5 members. But because, as you mentioned before, it's Lissandra, right? She builds Stopwatch, she builds Zonia, she's got her Glacial Prison there, the Glacial Tomb. It just buys so much space and so much time. It becomes a 1-for-1. And for Red here, this is actually not bad because Dragon's up and your jungler's up and available. You can kind of just go for the reset, come back in. But Fluxo recognize that as well, and they try and rush it. And the problem is, Xayah, that's a champion who plays best when backing up. Then you've got all those feathers behind you. That's when you can look for the pool and just played that beautifully to perfection. Right now in this 80 carry battle, Titan's just looking better.
And a beautiful look there at the flash late in that fight from Titan to avoid the damage. And, you know, also that's Red just recognizing that they blew the most important cooldowns on the other side, right? You knew that you got the tidal wave out of JoJo, and you had also forced out the stopwatch as well as the glacial tomb from House. So you know, as soon as you see that Lissandra W come out, you're like, okay, like if you come in, we can kill you. And not the same case here for Bull, is that's going to be a quick dive for Fluxo in the bot lane.
Yeah, but macro play, right? Red, they're mid. They just keep on pushing in there. They're able to pick that one up. Ty, meanwhile, split pushing on that top side here, trying to answer as well. And Red, again, it just feels like they are tracking the macro timers a little bit better. They are willing to sacrifice Bull to the greater cause here as long as they can find something else. And let's not forget the back of our minds here. Red have better skilling. The clock is still ticking on Fluxo.
So let's expand on that then a little bit here. We just passed the 18-minute mark. We're getting very close to Baron coming up 3 minutes away from the next Drake. And of course, Red already has 2 Drakes in their pocket. Set the stage for me then for both of these teams. You need Fluxo to make something happen, and you need it to happen soon. What do you want to see from them here over the next few minutes?
Okay, so Fluxo, they've got a lot of burst damage right now. The base damages on their champions are fine, but we worried about later on if they have enough damage to actually kill people, and more importantly, in the extended fights, besides Bruntsy, who's providing that extended damage here. So for them, they're trying to pick up the pace of the game, and that's why we're seeing these plays happen here. They need to be able to do that and find something after that, not just the kills for kill's sake, or if it is the kills for kill's sake, make sure Red Canids can't answer. And they're trying. It's Desamis and House making the plays happen right now. They need to do more of that, except faster and around the objective timers. As for Red Canids, the reason why we say they scale better, first of all, Xayah does better in these team fights, but Avenger as well on this Talia. Not quite as much CC as the Lissandra, but with the Q as well, as short the cooldown as it is, it actually becomes consistent damage throughout these fights. And Bull on this Gnar as well. In mini Gnar form, you do a lot of damage. In mega Gnar form, you match Ty in terms of the damage you can do, as well as bring more CC to the table. Another pick onto Ty.
And that's just the immediate flash over that Weaver's Wall. Ty not going to give Red the opportunity to pick him off. And that's just another summoner spell there off of the side of Fluxo. So we'll keep an eye on if they can maybe get that pick set up on Ty once again. A lot of pings here towards the bottom side. Looks like both teams really want to secure this vision for this coming Drake. Fluxo wants to deny Red from getting to Soul Point here with this next Drake. And Red, I mean, if you're Red Canids, you probably okay fighting here, but it's just going to depend, I feel like, on if you could get that right setup to nuke these targets, because you know Fluxo is running on that timer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not confident in the play, don't make it. Great flash rate from both. Both top laners having burnt flash now. And yeah, Red, if you see the opportunity, pull the trigger by all means. This was not the opportunity I was thinking of. Blue Trinket does reveal them here. And Fluxo, they're going to make a beeline right over here. Red don't have enough damage.
They don't. Teleport is going to come in. They may want to go for this, or they might go for the fight the numbers, not necessarily in favor of Fluxo here, but the teleport coming in from the Lysandre, and they're actually able to finish off the Baron, and they're going to get out. The tidal wave will not land. Red have escaped, and they've taken everything with them.
Fluxo hesitated. They blinked when they stared in the face of Red there, and Red, that is not something we see. A lot of times in competitive play, you'll see somebody try and zone out there. Red didn't leave anybody to zone. They made the call. Everybody burn the Baron, burn and turn, or burn and run, actually, and they managed to get it here, Ty. Now, without a flash, might be getting caught out TP from Avenger.
Yeah, and they know they've already gotten out that summoner spell, so you're going to be hard-pressed to get out of here. Is able to buffer the ultimate there from Aegis, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Okay. This is a beefy Cassante. He is going to get to the safety of his tower, but they could keep going. Aegis could stall long enough for them to finish off this kill, and Aegis will pick it up. Avenger backs away, and now they've just got everything that they need to take this tower and keep pushing with this Baron buff. It will be Soul Point here for Red Canids, or not, excuse me, Fluxo will deny Soul Point for Red Canids by picking up that Drake as a little bit of a consolation prize, but Red, I don't think they care.
Nope, you've got Baron, you care more about pushing here. If you can get the Dragon, great, but if you're trading a Dragon for 2 turrets with the Baron buff, you keep on doing that. Red really happy with that, and so gold lead to Red in this game, in a game which is already starting to tip in their favor, scaling wise as well. Red sitting real pretty here. Even better yet, they've still got a minute and a half on this Baron power play, so they can continue to push out here. And if Fluxo kind of slack off a little bit, thinking, oh, Red have already made their Baron power play already, they could lose more inner turrets.
Yeah, well, it's nice to keep Red from getting onto Soul Point with that Drake. When you already talk about the timer that Fluxo were on, that Drake, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't much matter.
Yeah,
it is pretty meaningless here, because Red, with the remnants of this Baron buff, are going to continue to crash waves. They could set their eyes, as they have Bull bot side, on this tier 2 bottom lane. They're getting heavy control of the Red side jungle of Fluxo. Red has full control right now.
Red has taken a little bit long to set up this bot side control, though, so by the time the minion waves actually crash into the turret, Baron buff will be expiring. But just the threat of the pick right now is what they're looking for. It's more to set up. The wards coming down from Fluxo, though, really solid position to make sure they don't get caught in rotation for now. There we go. There's that last wave, 30 seconds. And Fluxo, they got caught in rotation. They sent too many people bot to deal with Bull.
Yeah. Red just said, we'll take either mid or bottom lane. Wherever you want to invest your resources, we'll just go the other direction. And they do force out the ultimate there from House, and now they're just going to go bot lane here as well. They know Fluxo's going to come. That's going to be the Weaver's Wall to block in Jojo and Ty. Ty just about to have Flash available, but Weaver's Wall will go down, so it isn't going to matter, at least for the time being, and Red will continue to chip away at this tower. Aegis just waiting in the brush here, looking for that target to try and get the ultimate down. Taking a pull in this Vi. Red not under a whole lot of threat. This is just Fluxo just trying to grasp onto whatever remnants are left of this game, because they seem done. But that's the Summits going in, looking for the kick. Huge Feather Storm, though, and the Blade Collar will slice through the ranks of Fluxo. They're going to try and get the engage on the Titan, and they are going to be able to take him down. Huge kill there for Ty, but the problem is everybody else is gone on Fluxo. Just Jojo remaining after a triple kill from Avenger, and Red, it was bloody, but they get it done.
Yeah, and so that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back right here from Red. They take that inner turret, like we said, no need for Baron buff. The setup was good enough, and more importantly, I think we just saw the lack of damage from Fluxo there. Ty popped off in that fight. Brunsey popped off in that fight as well. But House didn't have the Frozen Tomb available. Tidal Wave was down from Jojo. They didn't have the big team fighting spells. And House as well didn't have stopwatch. So when they decided to go in, when Disamis kicked this in, he also kicked the wrong person, by the way. That was Bull, Meganar. And you saw it just bought so much space. Disamis was just dead. But yeah, they don't have the disengage necessary. And under turret, Red played that so well. They barely took turret shots. I think it was 2, 3 tops, not including Bull, of course, who got kicked under. So Fluxo, I know what they were trying to do. But this is a bit of a desperation play, and now we are past that tipping point.
Yeah, and that's also Bull saying, "Oh, thanks, Desamis, for delivering me to your backline. I'm just gonna gnar everybody into the wall here." And the other problem is, well, Avenger might go down here, though. It looks like it is going to be House falling thanks to the support, though. He is able to trade 1-for-1. Okay, nice shutdown there for House. That's some good gold. This Titan has to Featherstorm in mid lane. But the big thing is, while Ty, was able to take down Titan in that fight, Titan got out almost 7,500 damage before dying. So, like, sure, you killed that priority target, but it took you way too long. All of the value you're going to get out of that Xayah had essentially already been picked up by Red, so it didn't much matter at that point.
Yeah, and that works for Ty if you have somebody else doing the damage. But by the time Ty actually killed Titan as well, Brunsey was dead, House was dead. So where's the sustained damage coming from? It has to come from you, Ty. And if you kill Titan, great. But as you mentioned, Titan's done the damage, and what else are you going to do? Ty going to be able... Actually, I thought he was going to be able to get the turret, but not quite enough damage there, and Jojo might pay the price.
Yeah, Scamber getting in here with the ultimate is going to get the charm and the lockdown onto Jojo, and that's a 5th kill now for Titan. And the question is, does Red want to continue the chase here? Looks like they're going to back away. 5 seconds on this Ocean Drake. We'll see if these teams want to duke it out. I imagine the Baron is going to be the focus because Red is likely not looking, they can make this game go longer until they can pick up Soul. They can play for Elder. But with the timer that we've talked about multiple times for Fluxo, Red doesn't have to wait that long. If they can get this fight, if they can pick up a Baron, they are well within reach of winning this game. Weaver's Wall to just block out Fluxo here, and they're just going to dogpile Tay. It's going to be hard for this Cassante to escape. He is going to get to the safety of this mid lane for the time being, but that's going to be the Vi charging in onto Cassante here. And roll on the chase as well. Ty is down, and Red will turn their focus right back to this Baron.
And if we think about how this play started, it was Ty getting caught up topside in the first place, and then Jojo getting sacrificed to get him out, and now Ty finally goes down again with that desync. Tidal Wave not up for Jojo, so this Nami really not as important as the Cassante and Scamber.
Oh, huge ultimate there. A few flashes to try and get away, but it isn't going to matter. Desamis has been taken out. Scamber goes gold to stay safe here, and they're just, again, turning right back to this Baron. And this is Fluxo trying to pull out some magical play to keep this game alive, but it's not going to be enough. Red more than happy to turn and take this fight at every opportunity. Brunsey going to take a lot of damage there from Avenger. Bubble over the wall will mean nothing, and that's a second Baron for Red Canids.
Red could literally do this all day, so they're just picking up free kills here. Now on this reset, Fluxo can't find anything else more. I was wondering if they're going to try and rush this mid lane or even the bot lane. The minions actually push into that turret, but will be cleared off. And Red, they didn't lose a single thing for any of this. It's starting to feel, well, we said it before, it's starting to feel like desperation for Fluxo. It's getting even worse now, and Red are starting to feel confident in their plays. The way Scamber engaged that as well with that stopwatch was beautiful. And once the Zonius is completed, so we're going to get to see more of that.
Yeah, and this is a Red team also walking a fine line, right? They're playing with that confidence, but they're also not over-aggressing. They're making Fluxo create the openings that they want and then punishing it every single time. And while that is going to be Scamber getting taken out, the kill there to Jojo, it's immediately going to turn around, and that is sushi for dinner for Red Canids, as well as Desamis getting taken out, or it's just Desamis there. Okay.
Yeah, Jojo actually got out this time.
Yes.
It wasn't sacrifice, but you know what? Human sashimi, I guess, is a thing for Red. And he'll happily go for dragon sashimi after that, because Disamis was the jungler, is the jungler. He's got the smite. Well, no smite, no dragon, so point for Red Canids there. Now, that play happens because Scamber crossed the line, and that line was not having a stopwatch. Scamber just completed Zonia's. He's good to keep on going now.
And I feel like I cast or cursed Scamber without even saying what I was thinking. Because as you were finishing your last point, I looked down and checked Scamber's score, and I was like, oh, 0-0-12. Like, And that was when they had 13 kills, almost a perfect support game, almost had 100% KP, had no deaths. And I was like about to say like, oh, maybe I make a point about Scamber here, talk about his scoreline, talk about how cleanly he's playing, engaging and setting up all of these plays. And it didn't, the words didn't even come out of my mouth, and Scamber got punished for it. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean it.
It's okay. It's okay. They're still winning. That's fine.
Yes.
If that cost him the game, well, yeah, so I think he might want to have words.
Then I've got a little egg on my face, right?
Yep. A minute left still on this Baron power play. Red has used it mostly to secure objectives. Got a little bit of a push here, but there's no outer turret standing for Fluxo. So it's actually kind of hard for Red right now to push in. And Fluxo did a great job as well, pushing out those lanes, following that Baron. By the time the waves actually get there, I don't think Red's actually going to get any sort of meaningful push. Heck, I don't think they're going to get any push at all. Look at the minions right now. Mid is not even at the halfway point. Only Bull is escorting in a wave, but it doesn't look like Red wants to go in with Bull.
Yeah, and Red's just going to go for the reset. They know this Baron power play is expiring. They don't necessarily have those waves in a spot where they can really force the issue on these inhibitor towers. So they'll reset, spend, I would imagine, the ample amount of gold that they are sitting on at this point in the game, because they are all looking pretty rich. It is a 6,500 gold lead here for the side of Red Canids. So they'll pick up some extra items, and now they're just going to be looking to continue to punish these Fluxo mistakes, because they know Fluxo is going to be trying to create that opening to turn this game on its head, and they're just going to buy their time. They may run into them here, as it's going to be the dash over the wall from Aegis, but Fluxo spots it, immediately backs away.
Yeah, there's nothing for Fluxo to fight for here. So either you set up a death bush or you walk away. It looks like they've gone for the former here, but they don't have vision of Red and don't know where they actually are. And Red, if we look at how they played in the first round robin, they're in their comfort zone. They were playing mostly to mid to late game, and they're now here. They're well and truly in charge here. Fluxo, on the other hand, we said it earlier that the way Fluxo likes to play is come to game with a game plan here, execute it clean, right? Get those sort of the set pieces working. And that hasn't happened, and now we are well past that point. Fluxo, as a team, has struggled to come back into games when they've fallen behind, and the gap is getting bigger and bigger. The composition doesn't have a comeback mechanic. I am at a loss, Yeso, right now to figure out how Fluxo can do this, and they definitely want to. We said it before. It's single elim versus double elimination here. The winner of this gets an extra life. Fluxo, they're not even getting a second chance, much less a second life at the rate they're going.
Yeah, Fluxo in a very rough spot, and what this sets up is an incredibly compelling top four to start the Split 1 playoffs here in CBLOL. Of course, we are yet to know exactly what seed Los Grandes will end up at. They are playing for first seed in their next game. But regardless, if this game plays out the way we think it will, we're going to have a top four of Pain, Loud, Los Grandes, and Red. And all of those teams within at most 2 wins, maybe even 1 win of each other. How excited does that make you for the start of the CBLOL playoffs here?
Man, Pain won today, so I'm already super excited for playoffs, but even more so for sure. And it's a lot of actually old names. If you think about it too, those are the last 3 champions we've had. Yeah. It's been Pain back in 2021, and then it was Red for 2021 split 2, 2022 split 1, and then it was Loud just last split here. So since franchising, all the champs are kind of back at the top, and Los Grandes looking to be the one to break that. Now, of course, this is all assuming Red can close this out. And we have had a bit of a lull state because we're waiting for objectives here. There is still a chance that Red can throw at Baron. And if they do, and Fluxo can do that, then they get to break open that sort of old boys club at the top 4 here. It's just going to take a lot to have happen. And I don't think it's going to be about the dragon. I think Red can kind of just get a ward on Baron, set up for this dragon, burn that down. And Fluxo, maybe you go for a Desperation Baron in exchange. Do they have enough damage to burn it? That, I don't know.
Yeah, and the hard part is also this lull state still kind of works in favor of Red, right? If the situation is flipped and it's Fluxo that is in this lead, but they're not playing as quickly maybe as they should, that leaves an opening for a Red composition that actually would excel in that late game team fight and could get a lot out of it. And while not everything is said and done at this point, and Fluxo could certainly make something magical happen, Red doesn't mind this little state because they know the longer this game goes, the wider that gap is between these two compositions. It is going to be Fluxo starting off this Baron, and House trying to set up this flank, but Bull looking to just walk ahead with this Mega Gnar. Weaver's Wall will lock them in. That's going to be Bull stepping forward, and it looks like they just all want to pile onto Brunsey here and Jojo, and House is on this flank, buying as much time as possible, but hasn't become that threat just yet. Red going to turn around. They are going to lock down House and keep him from getting onto the backline. That's the Glacial 2 coming through and flash over the wall. They continue to just peck away at each other, but nobody has died just yet.
And can I just say, how's the play is immaculate here? No way, the Sweepers will catch him. How's the escape artist? But Ty's undoing all the work.
Yeah, Bubble isn't going to save him. It would appear Bull about to go mega flash over the wall will keep Ty alive just for the time being. Bull's going to jump after him. The Gnar over the wall does get the stun, but it does not secure the kill. Fluxo somehow survived.
And sadly, Aso, that is the best case scenario for Fluxo. You saw how slow they were taking Baron. No way. Compare that to Titan taking Dragon alone. Titan takes Dragon solo. Faster than Fluxo can even try and burn Baron here. Bull in mini form getting caught out.
Yeah, and they know Ultimate's not available and is just now back in mini, so is exhausted on that front. Scamper going to dash in, does have that Zongus available to buy some time. They're going to get onto Ty, though, and it's going to shut down onto Brunsey, and here comes Titan to just rip through the Fluxo lineup. House quickly follows, Ty running for the hills. Jojo going to try and get away from this huge Gnar, but I don't think it's going to happen. Weaver's Wall to lock off the Fluxo support. And while that is going to be Ty just getting away, the Baron won't escape the clutches here of Red. That's 3 for them, and it looks like they're ready to put the finishing touches on this one, RMC.
Man, the Baron taking speed. Yeah, so that to me is just this game in a nutshell, right? Fluxo struggling to take Baron. Red just look at it funny and it drops dead. And they're just going to keep on pushing right now. Still 20 seconds for House, Jojo, and Brunsey as well. By the time they come back up, Inhibs are going to be down here. And heck, if Fluxo can find another catch onto either Ty or Desamas, they could even look to try and close out the game.
They could certainly go for it. They've got Baron buff minions spilling into this top side, and I don't even think they're going to care about that mid lane inhibitor. Brunsey is back, but it might not be enough. They should be able to clear out this first wave, but it just means Red's going to turn their attention to mid lane. They'll look for their second inhibitor here, and could Fluxo keep themselves alive?
Magic 8 Ball says probably not right now. Odds are really, really bad here. There's one last final fight here. Oh, Brunsey?
Yeah, Brunsey gets caught, but is able to flash away to safety, but the Nexus Tower is burning. Brunsey going to try and get some sustain there from the Nexus. They're going to try and buy as much time as they can. Bull is going to get locked down, but I don't know that it's going to matter. Desamas will get taken out. House quickly in there as well. It's just out of Brunsey, and it's not nearly enough. Red take the win.